Our topic of today is self-confidence. We all understand confidence, self-confidence in our own simple ways. And today we're going to learn some simple and very helpful techniques that we can practice daily to develop our self-confidence in a manner that draws upon our spiritual and material strengths. This is the unique angle of today's webinar. It's how you integrate your spiritual strength with your material strengths to build your self-confidence. There's a lot of coaching and exercises where great teachers teach about building self-confidence. Today we're going to look at this relatively unique angle and learn how to do it. And this can lead us to achieving success, happiness, fulfillment in our lives, but always underpinned by humility, because when you engage the spiritual, it comes with humility. Now let us start by trying to understand the importance of self-confidence and how it impacts our daily lives. And I always look at what is the published literature saying. I won't spend too much time on it, but let me share what is out there on self-confidence. What is self-confidence? So one definition I found was that self-confidence is a feeling of trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgment. Self-confidence means you feel sure of yourself and your abilities, not in an arrogant way, but in a realistic, secure way. Self-confident isn't about feeling superior to others. It is a quiet inner knowledge that you are capable. Remember, self-confidence is a quiet inner knowledge that you are capable. That's a beautiful definition. Confident people, they know that they can rely on their skills and strengths to handle whatever comes up. Now, people of all ages with a healthy sense of self-confidence are able to feel good about themselves, and they know that they deserve respect from others. A self-confident person is someone who acknowledges his or her own achievements and efforts. It's not wrong to acknowledge your achievements and efforts. That's not being not humble unless you are presenting it in an arrogant way, or you're thinking it in an arrogant way. But if you acknowledge your achievements and efforts, it's also internally strengthening your self-confidence. Self-confident people are their own cheerleaders without needing validation from anyone else. And being self-confident not only helps you to seek new opportunities, but also to trust yourself a lot more. So these are some of the definitions that we found. And in addition, let's explore some key questions about self-confidence. Why is self-confidence important to success? And this is what I could come up with. Confidence overcomes fear. And so this is from research online. I see, okay, what's everyone saying? So I picked out the cream. Confidence overcomes fear. Lack of confidence can lead to paralysis from fear. So to succeed, you need confidence to face and overcome your fears. Self-confidence means believing in yourself. Like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right both times. So whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. And so let's now look at what are the benefits of having self-confidence. And self-confidence, another word you often hear is self-esteem, and these two words are synonymous with each other because self-esteem in essence is your opinion of yourself. And if you have a high self-esteem, you have a high opinion of yourself. If you have a low self-esteem, you have a low opinion of yourself. But the benefits of confidence and high self-esteem are better health, both physical and mental, more so mental, happiness, freedom, greater self-worth, increased performance, creativity, reduced social anxiety, less fear and anxiety. All these are the benefits of high self-confidence. And what are the traits that self-confident people have in common? Firstly, they don't compare themselves to others. They're happy to be the way they are. They exercise regularly. They dress for success. They sit up straight. They speak positively. They ask for help. They don't give up. And they help others. So these are some of the traits that self-confident people portray. And my dear friends, these are aspects of well-being we all deserve to have. Now, what are the characteristics of people with low self-confidence or low self-esteem? So let's look at the other end of the spectrum. They're extremely critical of themselves. They downplay or ignore their positive qualities. They judge themselves to be inferior to their peers. They have no reason to. They use negative words to describe themselves, such as stupid, fat, ugly, unlovable. They really believe that they are unlovable and will even accept abuse from others in relationships, for example, as a price for earning love, because they believe that love has to be earned this way. It has a price. They don't deserve it. So it's a tough place to be. They have discussions with themselves, which we call self-talk, that are always negative, critical, and self-blaming. They assume that luck plays a large role in their achievements and don't take credit for them. They blame themselves when things go wrong, instead of taking into account other things over which they have no control, such as the actions of other people or economic forces. They don't believe a person who compliments them. They have a fear of trying because they're convinced they will fail. They have a fear of being judged and may avoid activities which involve other people, like sports and social events, because they are afraid that they will be judged negatively. Such people feel self-conscious and stressed around others and constantly look for signs that people don't like them. They ignore the signs that they are liked, but they will pick the ones that people don't like them. They have low resilience. People with low self-confidence find it hard to cope with a challenging life event because they already believe themselves to be hopeless. And many of them display a lack of self-care. They may neglect or abuse themselves, for example, or drink too much alcohol. So my dear friends, these are traits that we absolutely do not want to have in our lives if we can help it. And today is a great time to start building a robust self-confidence that is sustainable in the face of life's challenges. So if we have any of these traits, we're going to learn how to get rid of them. We've looked at the traits which are desirable that come from self-confidence, and that's what we are all going to aim for. Now, let us learn about some practical ways by which we can build and maintain our self-confidence. And I would like to start by spending a couple of moments on the concept of the self in inverted commas. Because the self is a critical part of the process of building self-confidence. The self has two dimensions. You have the higher self, which is the spiritual dimension that is synonymous with your true identity as an eternal being. So the higher self is synonymous with your true identity as an eternal being. Your higher self embodies your soul and your life force. And these are three of the most powerful aspects of every being, and I will repeat them. The higher self, which is the spiritual dimension, is synonymous with your true identity as an eternal being. Your higher self embodies your soul and your life force, and these are the three most powerful aspects of every being, regardless of how one may feel about oneself at a material level. Even people with low self-confidence, high self-confidence, we all have these three very powerful elements in us. Let's learn how to use them. Let's learn how to engage them in our material lives. The second dimension of the self, of course, is the lower self. We've looked at the higher self. There's the lower self, which is the material self. Now, the lower self lives in this world. It is immersed in the material consciousness. drawing in and absorbing all the positive and negative aspects of the material consciousness. And we have talked a great deal of material consciousness in the classes on the seven worlds. So please go back, look at those videos, refresh your memories about the God consciousness, consciousness of nature, and material consciousness. Good time to refresh your memories. So, self-esteem defines how the lower self perceives itself. Okay, so lower self lives in this world. It is immersed in the material consciousness. It draws in and absorbs the positive and negative aspects of the material consciousness. And self-esteem defines how the lower self perceives itself. Okay? Now, the lower self is a temporary aspect of our being because when life ends, its role is over. By then, it has served its purpose of helping derive experience and knowledge which move on to the higher self. And this makes the lower self a very important facet of our lives and experiences in this world. And so it must be built, nurtured, respected, and protected. And this is very important that our lower self, our material self, must be built, nurtured, respected, and protected. And self-confidence comes right at the heart of all this. And today, through alignment and meditation, we're going to learn how to draw upon the power of the self, the higher self, and engage with the lower self. Now, once the higher self and lower self are fully engaged, we build immense self-confidence at a material level. How are we going to achieve this? So we're going to try today, through our alignment and meditation, to merge the higher and lower self through the power of positive, nurturing, and inspiring thought. So today we're going to seek to merge the higher and lower self through the power of positive, nurturing, and inspiring thought. And when the higher self and lower self merge, they create empowerment. As we seek to achieve this, we must bear in mind at all times that we must maintain a position of humility and not arrogance, because as we grow and are able to accomplish this, our power within will go up. But please stay away from arrogance. Remember, it comes from roots of humility. So, based on my own life experience and the things that have worked for me, I would like to recommend a 4-step practical approach to consciously build and sustain our self-confidence. 4 steps. What are these steps? And I'll elaborate on them. But the first step is test your feelings. Second step, establish a positive mindset. Third, anchor your state of mind and being positively. And fourth, consciously engage the lower and higher self. So this is the 4-step approach, and let's see how we do that. So let's go through these 4 steps via the example of Sam, who is a very shy 40-year-old nursing assistant working in the main city hospital in London. Sam suffers from low self-confidence because he was bullied in the playground during childhood. His parents were ultra strict and drove him very hard, never letting him to be a child and enjoy his childhood, and this also damaged his self-confidence. The operating stress of his profession is extremely high, where doctors and colleagues often snap at Sam when he is slow or feels lost, but that's a high-stress environment he's working in. But every time that happens, it lowers his self-confidence. He's also very sad because he's unable to tell the girl he loves how he feels about her. It is his fear. He dreads the possibility of rejection. So not being able to tell her, loving her, and yet living in fear of rejection places his self-confidence, even at that aspect of his being, at a very low level. He's very lonely and more. Now today, Sam wakes up feeling positive for a change. Doesn't happen often, but today he wakes up feeling positive. And he wants to stop feeling down. He sees the sun shining through his bedroom. Room is lit up. He looks out, he looks at the trees, he feels good about life for a change, and he says, I want to stop feeling down. I'm tired of feeling down. He wants to build up his self-confidence so that he can change his life and circumstances. And also he can change the way he perceives his place in the world, which is at the moment at an all-time low. And this thought invokes help from our two friendly angels, Cyrus and Luminous. They hear his thoughts. And so Sam, when he goes to work, at lunchtime he's sitting alone on a bench in the hospital garden, having his sandwich all by himself. He does not feel like having lunch in the cafeteria and sitting with his colleagues. He feels happier being alone. And Cyrus and Luminous find him and sit next to him in the park, and they strike up a conversation with Sam. Somehow Sam feels completely at ease when speaking to them. Their energy makes him feel safe, respected, and valued. Safe, respected, and valued. Something he has seldom experienced in his life to date, but these two angels have the ability to make you feel that. Sam explains his challenges to the two angels, who listen to him patiently until he's finished. He relates all his challenges to them. And when he finishes, tearfully he says to them, I so dearly wish for a change in my life and my circumstances. And I wish to be confident and strong and not feeble and weak and down. And with a warm, loving smile, Cyrus says, we can offer some solutions for you to consider. And Sam replies gratefully, anything, yes, anything that can help, I'm ready. So Cyrus says, okay, there are 4 steps we're going to talk about. Let's start with step 1. He explains to Sam, if you want to discover the sources of the things that drag you down and sap your confidence, you must consciously begin to test your feelings. Test your feelings through the day, evening, and night. And it is very important for you to identify the sources of emotional and mental hurt and unhappiness that come from your low self-confidence. Now, how does one test one's feelings? Sam asks Cyrus, because this is a new concept for him. And Cyrus said, let me throw some suggestions your way. He says, when you are feeling incapable or a lack of self-confidence, for example, stop and ask the question, why am I feeling this way? As soon as you feel it, stop and ask, why am I feeling this way? When your spirits are deflated, stop and ask yourself, why are my spirits deflated? When you want to hide in a corner and avoid people, ask yourself, why am I doing this? When someone compliments you and you refuse to believe the compliment is genuine, ask yourself, why can I not believe this compliment is genuine? You need to explore the sources of each one of your downers as soon as you begin to feel down. And you see, your feelings are your self, your mind, yourself communicating with you. And they are sending these feelings your way, which are taking you lower and lower. They're trying to communicate with you to say, resolution is needed. But instead of listening and trying to identify and work with that language of feelings, you just receive them, you live with them, you go down under a lower cloud each day. But that's not why those feelings are coming to you. They're coming to you as a blessing to build you. So when you feel low, stop and ask yourself, why? When you feel happy, stop, ask yourself, why? Identify the things that work in your life. So Cyrus says, let us look at how testing your feelings helps you. He tells Sam, firstly and most importantly, you will begin to get to know your mental and emotional self much better than you do now. Instead of simply living under the clouds of feelings, you will learn to understand each one of them. You will begin to manage your feelings with greater control because they're coming to you as a gift, not as a punishment. But you have to decode what they're telling you. After all, when you know the problem, you can start finding the best solutions. If you don't know the problem and you just keep feeling this way, you're not going to look for solutions. So as you consciously test your feelings, you will begin to realize that whatever is bringing down your self-confidence has an identifiable source. It could be a person, it could be a memory, it could be a relationship or relationships, it could be an event or events or whatever it may be, but it has a source. Every feeling that comes to you comes with a source. Try and find that source by testing your feelings consciously. And once you've identified this source, you can then plan on how you're going to fix things. This could involve many options, like changing your approach to relationships with people that bring down your self-confidence. You might want to reevaluate those relationships. You might want to change your approach towards them. Changing the things you do or the way you do them. Changing where you work or live. Moving to an environment that enhances your strengths rather than emphasizes your weaknesses. Taking bold steps on situations you've always feared to address head on, and more. So Cyrus said these are some of the options for you to consider, and you will find more. But first, test your feelings and understand the roots and the source of the problem, then find the options to fix them. And he says to Sam, once you commit to this change, the universe will work with you. The universe always works with you. And you will start to feel happier and more in control of your state of being. So Sam realizes that whatever Cyrus and Luminous are saying make complete sense. He realizes he needs to get to know his emotional self much better and take steps to eliminate or reduce the sources of pain and deflation of his self-esteem. And Luminous adds, do your best, Sam, and we will be watching and helping you every step of the way. And this is very comforting for Sam. Cyrus then says, now let us look at the second step. The second step is establishing a positive mindset. And this is all about the vocabulary of your inner talk. Positive mindset is driven by the quality and nature of the vocabulary you use when you speak to yourself. So far, he says, Sam, you have repeatedly reminded yourself why you cannot do something or succeed in a given path. Your mindset is negative, and you're convinced of the cannot do phrase in everything. In your mental vocabulary, he says, how often do you come across words like, this is beyond me. Oh, I'm not capable of doing this. Everyone is better than me. I feel worthless. So Sam says to Cyrus, sounds like you've been reading my mind. Cyrus laughs and replies, no, I don't need to read your mind. It's very obvious. These thoughts are written all over your face. And when others see your expressions, they take advantage of you because they see signs of weakness. The cruel ones are like sharks. When they see blood, they attack and they drive you down. So they're responding to what you're showing them. So the next step, he tells them, is to eliminate these negative thoughts and get rid of them as soon as they arrive. So you're testing your feelings, and now we're going to learn how to eliminate these thoughts as soon as they arrive. And he says, once you're able to do that, your facial and bodily expressions will change. Sam says you must always aim to project positive thoughts and a positive self-esteem and a high self-worth. These thoughts write a very different picture on your face. When people start to see strength, confidence, and assurance in your expressions, their perception of you will change. So Sam says, how do I plant these positive thoughts in my mind? And Cyrus replies, there was a lovely young lady, her name's Clara, who was in the same situation as you. And she used to be truly miserable and hated the way she looked and felt about herself and felt about everybody. But we taught her some very useful techniques that turned her life around. And he says, now every morning when she gets up And instead of looking at the mirror and going, oh, I hate the way I look, I'm fat, I don't like this pimple, she wakes up and looks at herself in the mirror and says, I love you. She tells her highly intelligent body that she deeply, deeply loves it. And it's not despised. This is a very powerful message to give your body, because when you give your body a negative message, it says, oh, okay, and it's very intelligent, and it says it's time to self-destruct. You give it a positive message and love, and it says, oh, I'm needed, and it starts to heal. We did a weekend workshop. I think many of you from the UK were present in London. We did this many years ago, but we talked about the intelligence of the body and how to communicate with it. And in this workshop, I talked about, or I gave an example of standing in front of the mirror and speaking to your body. And there was a girl who had come from Spain, and she listened, and then she went away. And she started, because I said that you can get your body, you can work with your body to achieve whatever you wish to. And if you stand in front of the mirror and tell your body, I love you, embrace it, admire it, and you want to lose weight, you say to your body, we need to release all excess weight. We need to release all that doesn't belong. We need to get really healthy and fit. And she started doing that. And then about 4 weeks later, she messaged me and she said, something amazing happened. She said, I lost 2 kilos. And she said, I didn't go on a diet or anything. I was simply communicating with my body, and it in turn was reacting, and certain foods, I suddenly didn't want them. I didn't feel like it. It was working with me because together we were going to release all excess weight. And she ended up losing a fair bit of weight. That is the power of communicating with your intelligent body. And I think maybe we will do a master class, one class on this subject, because I think there's much to be gained from it. So here, Cyrus is telling him that he taught Clara, and Clara is standing in front of the mirror and telling herself every day how she loves the way she looks, how she loves her body. And that's starting to make her feel more confident about herself because she's in love with herself. So Cyrus says, and Clara also repeats positive affirmations every day during the day, like, nothing is impossible. I can accomplish anything I wish to. I'm strong and inspired. I will find the solutions. I'm absolutely capable, absolutely capable. And no one is going to put me down. I'm not going to allow myself to be put down because I'm well above their negativity. So whenever Clara fears a loss of a relationship or a project or a job, she says to herself, this is not important. It does not make me, nor does it break me. Very powerful words. This is not important. It does not make me, nor does it break me. And Cyrus says, with these words, Clara diminishes the consequences of her fears and makes her feel free, confident, and positive. And then she goes and achieves whatever she wants to achieve. So she takes the fear right out by diminishing the impact of the consequence. It does not make me, does not break me. So Cyrus says to Sam, start doing what Clara does and do it throughout your day. Start with a mirror date with yourself in the morning, he tells Sam. Then remind yourself of Clara's affirmations as frequently as you can. So then Cyrus says to Sam, can you now repeat her affirmations to me? I want to know that you've understood. So Sam says, nothing is impossible. I can accomplish anything I wish to. I'm strong and inspired. I will find the solutions. I am absolutely capable, absolutely capable. And no one is going to put me down because I am well above their negativity. So these are 6 affirmations that he learned from Cyrus. And Cyrus says, excellent. Now you can add more positive affirmations of your own, whichever ones inspire strength and confidence in you. Add them to your list. So then Luminous, who's the more humorous guy, says, "What happened to the I love you part?" And Sam shyly smiles and replies, "I can't say that." "Why not?" Luminous asks. "What are you afraid of? Who is your best friend in this world? Who has been with you constantly from the moment you were born?" "I don't know," Sam replies. "Yourself, Sam, yourself. Yourself is your closest companion. You are your own best friend. Even when everyone is gone, you will never be alone because yourself is with you. If you recognize yourself, you admire yourself, you build upon yourself, you don't need people around you. Even in a crowd of 1,000 people, you are in majority because you are one with yourself. So yourself is your closest companion. Start loving yourself and remind yourself of that. Remind yourself that you deeply love yourself. Can you do that for us? Cyrus asked. "I will do my best," Sam replied. Luminous added, "If you feel shy, close the bathroom door, and then no one can watch you as you declare your love to yourself. Rest assured, Sam, once you start doing this, you will start to feel much better because it worked for Clara too. Your health will improve, just like her health improved. Your expressions on your face and the energy projected from your body will be happier and peaceful and positive. And people around you will begin to respond accordingly." So that was step 2, Cyrus said. Talk to yourself and remind yourself of the positive affirmations you have learned. So clean your inner vocabulary. Take out all these negative words from your vocabulary and speak to yourself with positive vocabulary. And he said, the minute a negative thought arises in your mind or your feelings are affected, well, because you're testing your feelings, you will know. And stop and replace that thought or those thoughts with a positive affirmation. That's how you do it. And so Luminous says, "Sam, you and yourself have much talking to do, and you're going to fall in love because right now you guys are not in love. So you've got much talking to do. You're like a couple that really needs to come together. Bring some sweet words in there and get closer." So Cyrus said, now we go to step 3, which is a natural follow-on from step 2, which is anchor your state of being positively. Use your power of anchor thought. Now, we've all learned about anchor thought in several of the first meditation classes, the first 5 master classes. And I've also done a video on it. We have also got short meditations, which are called the art of anchor thought. What is anchor thought? When I ask you, "How are you?" and you say to me, "I'm fine," that's the most worthless answer you can give because it means nothing. But if I ask you, "How are you?" and you are anchored in a particular state, like you're anchored in happiness, you will say, "I'm happy," or "I'm confident," or "I'm clarity, I feel clear, I am positive." All these are thoughts that you can anchor yourself in. For example, "I am peace, I am confidence, I am happiness, I am abundance, I am clarity, I am love, compassion, I am content." So you anchor yourself with those thoughts. So once you've changed the vocabulary internally to the positive, you then practice the art of anchor thought. And please go to our website or YouTube channel, and you will find the art of anchor thought. Listen to it, practice it. The technique is very simple. It's a 5-6 minute technique, but you anchor yourself in whatever state of being you choose to be. And when you do that, that's what you project to everybody around you. And anchor thought is very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So when you anchor yourself in something, all those who come to in your presence also feel that, and they become like you. They become in your space, they think like you do, they feel like you do. People who are threatened, if you have anchored yourself in love and harmony, will not feel threatened by you. They will come in your presence, they will feel differently. I remember one time, Karima and I were flying from Vancouver to Asia, and our flight, they changed our flight without notifying us. And when we got there, they said, "Oh, we've got to reroute you," and it was a much longer route. But the lady was terribly unhelpful. She was actually so rude. And so, Karima looks at me and goes, "We're never going to be able to get anything from her." And she turned around, and I went into the anchor thought of we are oneness, I am oneness. And I brought her through that power of anchor thought into my oneness. When she turned around, she was a completely different person. Because remember, soul is soul. And when a soul picks up that positive energy that comes from your anchor thought, it responds. It goes above your mind. Whatever your mind can be upset and angry and whatever, doesn't matter. She turned around, very calm, and she did everything to help us. And then we took off. And then I was explaining to Karima later that this is how it happened, because you can call it a miracle. It wasn't a miracle. It was anchor thought. You can all achieve that through practicing anchor thought. So go to the website, go to YouTube, pull up Art of Anchor Thought, Art of Flow, listen and practice. So that is step 3. And then Cyrus says to Sam, finally, he says, step 4 is to consciously engage with your higher self. Consciously engage with your higher self. And he said, so far in steps 1, which is test your feeling, step 2, build a positive mindset, and 3, which is anchor yourself in a positive state of being. He said, these 3, we have been talking to the lower self, the self of the material world, which will end one day. It is temporary. But he said, now it is time to start engaging with the higher self, which is your life force, your soul, which are eternal. Your higher self is your true source of endless power. It is the source of your strength, your inspirations, your creativity, and everything about you as a being. So learn to consciously engage the higher self with the lower self. And this is where your alignment and daily meditations can be of considerable help. So that's what we're going to learn next now. So I say thank you, Cyrus and Luminous, for sharing steps 1 to 3 with us in such a simple way through Sam and Clara. Now let's start working on step 4, which is engaging with the higher self. Now, this brings us to the as your own alignment. And let's start with the as your own alignment. Now, I've introduced the general as your own technique and the 6 intelligence fields of the body many times in recent classes. So we won't repeat the detailed explanations again today, but for those attending for the first time, review the videos on the as your own technique, aligning of the 6 senses, and healing anxiety. And it's covered in there. And Karima is just going to post you the links of the as your own technique and aligning the 6 senses, because there I go through a great deal of detail. Most of you have attended the classes. We don't want to bore you. So for those who are new, go to these videos and learn about the fields. But today we will work with the sensory field. So as I mentioned that there are 6 fields. So the first field is the field of light, which is connected to the center of your forehead. So it's the light of the universe that comes to the center of your forehead. The second field is the sensory field. Now remember, your body has 5 niches, 5 hollows. And the 6th one is between your feet, which is the earth. So the first hollow is the center of your forehead, which is the light field, which connects you to life force, to the universe. Between the first and second is the sensory field. So between this niche and the hollow of your chin is the sensory field. And this is where you have a sense of sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. And these five senses integrate together within the mind to give us the human experience. And these senses and the mind give us awareness of everything we are, what we're doing. When you wake up in the morning, you're aware of who you are, what you are, your life, your world. It comes from these six senses. Your memory, your thoughts and emotions, all of them come from the sensory field. And then they flow down to the other fields. So what are the other fields? The third field is the air field, which is the hollow of your neck. And this governs all the flow of gases in your body. So oxygen comes through into your lungs, into all your cells. The toxins, the carbon dioxide comes back and out. So it's all controlled by the field of air. Then is the field of flow, which is in the center of your solar plexus, which is where your heart is. But this governs the flow of all fluids in your body. So it goes through your lymphatic systems, your veins, your arteries, nutrients go, oxygen goes, and then all the toxins come back from there, and then they go down to the next, which is the field of cleansing, which is between the solar plexus and in the pubic area, we have one more niche. And this is where all our cleansing organs are located, our liver, intestines, kidneys. And so everything is cleansed here. And then finally, you've got the earth field, which is from the pubic area down to between your 2 feet. And this is the earth field which grounds your body to the earth. And in the alignment so far, we have been focusing on this area. But when we're done with this, we will come to the others. But even here, when you have an emotional upset, thoughts and emotions, they could go and end up in the cleansing field and cause you all kinds of problems in your intestines or migraine. So these fields, when you align them, you bring light all the way down, you create peace, and you bring all that down right into the earth, and your body is then fully aligned. So right now we are like crinkled shirts. When we practice the full alignment, we now have that flow of light and life force going all the way through our being. And this is where we help heal ourselves from so many different health disorders. So this is a quick recap. And so that's the sensory field. And I just gave you a quick synopsis of the six intelligence fields. Now we come to the alignment for building self-confidence. And this has 6 very simple steps which we will work with in the sensory field between the light and the hollow in the neck, in the chin, in the sensory field. And so this alignment has 6 very simple steps. The first one is to open the light field and open the sensory field. And we have done that each of the classes, and we'll do it again today. And you align your sensory field with peace. So when you open the light field and align the sensory field with peace, you're ready to go forward. So the third step in our alignment today will be release all the built-up negative energy that has come from the hurtful emotions and everything that our lower self-esteem or so lower self-confidence may have contributed to hurtful feelings and emotions. We release those. We give off we release all the built-up negative energy. Then we invoke a state of oneness between the higher self and the lower self through the alignment. Then we invoke absolute empowerment, because once the higher self is engaged, you can invoke absolute empowerment. So you empower yourself fully as a being in your material world. And then we fill our whole being with confidence. So these are the 6 alignment steps that we are going to practice today. Now let us start by opening the light and sensory field. And as I said to you, this is your daily reset button. And let's do it together before we move into the next one. So this is our light field. And as I said, it flows from the universe to the center of your forehead. So this goes far, far, far into the universe. And light and life flows through the center of your forehead. So when we do the alignment, we bring light from the universe to our center of our forehead. It is the shape of a conical pyramid because it goes to the smallest of the small here and never ends, and largest of the large here and never ends. So you draw the light, and then with your hands you go, so you come down light, then with your hands you go light, and then the two hands go back up, light, and then we draw more light. So that's opening the light field, and we do that 3 times. And then the second one is we now, from the position of light, we bring peace to our sensory field. So we go peace, peace, and peace. And we do that 3 times. And that opens, and then we pause for a moment and repeat peace. And then we draw light through our entire being. Because remember that this light field projects itself completely down to the earth. So we fill our entire being with light. So this is the daily reset button, which you can do in a couple of minutes. Let's do that because it makes the first 2 steps of today's alignment. So let's open the light field. So with your hands as high as you can go, 2 hands together, you draw light, light, light. One more time. Light, light, and light. Back into the universe and draw more light. Light, 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 light. And then we will do peace, which is between center of the forehead and base of your chin. Peace, 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 peace. Take a moment, repeat peace, and then we do the full body, which is from the universe. We go light, 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 and then the light of the universe flows from us, through us, all the way to the earth, and we are in the light. So this is how we open, this is our daily reset button, this is how we open our light field and peace field. So let's do it together now with our eyes closed, okay? So 3 times each. So light, 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 light. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, 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 peace. Pause for a moment and repeat peace, peace, peace. And then we do the full body, light, light, light. And then you can open your eyes. It's a very beautiful experience when you open the light field and the sensory field and fill it with peace. It really prepares you for the day. Now we come to practicing the alignment for building self-confidence. So we will start with, and again follow me, we will start with light, 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 light. And we'll do that 3 times. Then we will go peace, 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 peace. We'll do that 3 times, and then there is a pause. With our hands together, with our eyes closed, we will keep repeating peace, peace for a few moments. Then we go to the 3rd step, which is releasing all negative energy. So From here we go release all negative energy. We go release, 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 release. And then again pause and go release and cleanse. Release and cleanse. Release and cleanse. So we let go of all the negative energy and we release and cleanse ourselves. Then the next one is we invoke oneness between the higher self and lower self. So we go oneness, 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 oneness. And we'll do that 3 times, and then we'll keep repeating oneness as our higher self merges with the lower self. And when you practice this part, you'll actually feel light in your body. You'll just feel illuminated because your higher self is now engaged. And once we've engaged the higher self, then we're going to invoke empowerment. So we're going to go empower, 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 empower. Okay? And then with pause, empower. Absolute empowerment. Empower, empower. And then finally, the full being, we go confidence, confidence, confidence. And we fill our entire being with confidence. Okay? And you pause for confidence, and that completes the alignment. So let's close our eyes now, and we're going to do this 3 times for each, okay? So let's start with the light field, with our hands up in the universe. We go light, 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 light. Peace, 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 peace. Pause and repeat in your mind, peace. Peace. And then we release all negative energy we have. Release, 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 release. And then we pause and repeat, release and cleanse. Release and cleanse. And then we come back and we seek to merge the higher self and the lower self in oneness. So we go oneness, 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 oneness. And pause and repeat in your mind, oneness. Oneness. And then we go to empowerment, because our higher and lower self are in oneness. We go empower, 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 empower. And pause and repeat in your mind, empower. And then finally we go to gain confidence. And so we go confidence, 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 confidence. And pause and keep repeating confidence. Confidence. You may open your eyes. So that is the alignment for building confidence. Remember, we had the steps. We started with opening the light field, peace in the sensory field, release and cleanse, invoke oneness. And when you invoke oneness, it's a very special feeling between the higher and lower self. Then we invoke empowerment, and then we invoke confidence with the full being. So you can practice this alignment first thing in the morning or during the day or whenever you wish. But this alignment helps bring the higher and lower self together. And it fills you with empowerment and fills you with confidence. And from that position, you are now able to invoke whatever state of being you wish to strengthen you, give you more confidence, give you more courage, give you more clarity, whatever you choose. So now we are ready to move to the meditation for self-confidence. And this is a very short meditation today. But I'd like you to take a few moments, sit back, close your eyes, and relax. Breathe freely and be completely relaxed. Let go of all your emotions, all your worries, everything. Be at complete peace. And I'd like you to imagine you're standing on top of this beautiful mountain in the morning sun. There's snow-capped peaks around. The grass is green. The sunlight is sparkling off the dewdrops on the grass. There's birds in the air. There's flowers. There's trees. Beautiful nature. And in front of you is this crystal clear lake that is also sparkling in the morning sun. Take a moment and connect with this beautiful, vibrant nature. Look at the nature, the blue sky, the sunrise, the dewdrops sparkling, the lake sparkling, trees, mountains in the distance. And you start walking towards the lake shore because you wish to step into the water. But there you come across a tree stump, which is just a little below your waist. And on that stump is a golden cage. And in the cage are lots of beautiful little colored birds chirping away, racing around the cage. This cage is your lower self. This cage is the mind in the lower self. filled with these beautiful birds, so much activity, so much noise, chirping around. And you open that cage and you let go of all these beautiful birds as they leave you with noise and fly off towards the horizon. And as they're flying away, you repeat, release and empty. Release and empty. Release and empty. Keep repeating these words as the cage becomes completely empty. Release and empty. And now the cage is completely empty. The mind of the lower self is completely empty. No thoughts present of the lower self. And then you step into the lake and walk until the water reaches your knees. And you look at your knees and you see these little waves and ripples of the water. But you would like to see the reflection of your face and the sun and the blue sky in the water. So you wish that it goes still. And you look at these waves and ripples and you repeat, stillness, stillness, stillness. Keep repeating this word as you make the water go completely still. Stillness. Stillness. And the lake is now completely still. The water is still. You can see your reflection of your face and the blue sky in the water. It's like a mirror. As you look up, the whole lake is still like a mirror. You are in pure stillness, complete stillness. And with the lower mind, lower self, empty of all thoughts, you repeat in the stillness, silence, silence, silence. Take a few moments and just repeat the word silence. Silence. You are in pure stillness. You are completely still. You are completely silent, in pure silence. And you now wish to invoke the higher self, the light, as you repeat the word light, light, light. As the light of the higher self fills your being and fills your lower self, you repeat the words light, light, light. Keep repeating this word for a few moments as your entire being fills with light. Light, light, light. And in the presence of this light, you seek oneness between the lower self and the higher self. As you repeat, oneness, oneness, oneness. Keep repeating this word as your lower and higher self become completely one. Your mind is purely light. oneness. Oneness. And in the light of oneness, you seek empowerment. Empowerment of your lower self, your mind, your being, as you repeat the words empower, empower, empower. Empower, empower. You're filled with light, you're filled with empowerment. And in the presence of the light, you seek confidence, confidence, confidence. Keep repeating this word as your entire being is filled with confidence. Your lower self is filled with confidence, confidence, confidence. Confidence, confidence. Your being is filled with confidence, fully empowered, filled with light, as you sit in pure stillness, pure silence. And in the presence of the light, you seek blessing of peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. You may open your eyes whenever you're ready. That was peaceful. But with this daily meditation, you can feel your being. Once you engage the higher self and the lower self, it's so empowering. And then you bring empowerment to your being. And then you bring confidence. And then you will live with that confidence. Your lower self, your mind, your facial expression, your body language will all project confidence. And so finally, let's do the 1 minute technique, which is during the day at any time. If you're feeling low, you want to add self-confidence, you put your index finger and your thumb together, look through that circle, and repeat confidence, confidence, confidence. And you close your mind and keep repeating, filling that circle with confidence, confidence, confidence. Keep feeling it, filling that circle with confidence. Confidence, confidence. And the circle is so full of confidence, you release and you open that circle. And confidence flows all around you, to all those around you, within yourself, because you are pure confidence, confidence, confidence. You may open your eyes. This is a very short technique, but it really resets you in that state you wish to be in. So I'd like to conclude today's webinar session by offering my deepest, deepest gratitude to each one of you for being here, for blessing us with your presence, bringing your light, bringing your love, bringing your positive energy, which we all partake of when we practice our alignment, our meditation. I'd like to thank you deeply, and I pray that each one of you May always be blessed with much happiness, abundance, and light. And I pray that the light of the Creator may always be with you to help you, guide you, protect you, and love you. And that you may always smile from the soul, regardless of what life brings. Smile from the soul. Stay blessed, and we will see you at the next event very soon. Stay safe.